In the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, many Jamaicans are struggling to process fear, loss, and uncertainty. Mental health experts are warning that the emotional impact of the disaster is widespread and must be addressed alongside physical recovery efforts. Carla Ramdeen reports.
Psychologist Dr. Olivia Rose says she has observed clear signs of acute stress, including numbness and irritability among survivors in the aftermath of Melissa. Dr. Rose notes that while some people are displaying antisocial behavior, others are finding ways to cope and reconnect.
The social aspect of it, you would see some pro-social behaviors, even though there are evidences of antisocial behavior, but the pro-social ones look like persons organizing, trying to help, sharing of stories, just trying to lift each other, even making joke and having humor about the whole situation, and just organizing in a way that those who need the help can get it. And of course, there are some antisocial behaviors that I would have also observed, where persons will take more than they need, or there are some persons who have not yet received, and because of whatever reason, they are still collecting.
Consulting psychologist Dr. Lakim Samaj says children are among the most vulnerable and may face lasting trauma if they remain in affected areas. Dr. Samaj is urging parents to relocate their children to safer locations as soon as possible.
At the end of the third week, I sent my wife and children to live with relatives elsewhere, because you can't compromise your children's education. You can't rebuild after a storm and educate children at the same time. And you talk about how you can reopen school fast, that's out of the question. After 3 weeks, I took my children totally out of the area and sent them elsewhere to friends, to relatives, and they did very well. Children are traumatized. The younger children, many of them will actually regress, go back to bedwetting, because if you can't trust your house, if that stability, you don't have a home, the continuity, and it impacts the children significantly. So the most important thing we can do, get them out of the area. We don't have to wait on what the government does. Do you have a friend who is in an area that was not impacted? Do you have relatives elsewhere that you could send your children to for a period of time? Because it's the most impactful way of saving them the trauma. It's very hard for them to be there.
Dr. Samaj emphasizes that the first step in recovery is to focus on what can be controlled. He encourages survivors to channel their energy into positive actions and reconnect with others, describing this as an essential part of the healing process.
I speak not just as a psychologist, I speak as someone who was impacted very negatively by Hurricane Gilbert. I lost my roof. I had no water for 3 weeks. No electricity for 1 year, all right? So I've been there. But the first thing you do, you focus on what you can control. What can you do? You draw on those energies. Reconnect with others as much as you can. Because, strength can be amplified when you share ideas and you share observations. Reduce your media consumption. Social media and traditional media, because the media is so saturated with issues of trauma and destruction. You don't need no more of that. So limit your consumption of that. Accept what you feel, the anger, the fear. But guess what? Sometimes you'll have joy. So that's why you interact with other people as much as possible. And I encourage people to document, make notes, write poems, draft your own story, talk about it, because that's part of the healing process.
Dr. Rose also addressed survivor's guilt. She argues those who did not experience the worst of the hurricane might be experiencing survivor's guilt, calling it a natural response that shows empathy. But she warns it can become unhealthy if it prevents people from acting.
It's important to at least set some time aside to feel badly, but also be grateful in the same time. And it's easy to say because some people want to be on the ground immediately, and having gone there too is sometimes a part of you acting out of the guilt that you've been spared, but also it honors acts of service to help those persons who are in need. So it's something that we all have been affected.
Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.